Now, last night we heard from two Gold Star fathers. They lost their hero Marine sons in last week's terror attack at Karzai International Airport in Kabul. The attack caused by Joe Biden's self-inflicted, reckless Afghan exit disaster, all preventable. All of this human suffering, all of this violence, the needless loss of life, it's all caused by Biden. Now we know he knew, even as he tries to blame everybody else except himself. Here with reaction, Fox News contributor Joey Jones and Nevada Senate candidate Sam Brown, who both served and were wounded in Afghanistan, along with Gold Star wife Jennie Taylor, her husband, Army Major Brent Taylor, killed in Afghanistan in 2018. Joey, let me start with you. In 2010, IED-related incident resulted in the loss of both your legs above the knee, severe damage to your right forearm, both wrists. How do you feel today?
Well, first, Sean, just let me say that whatever injuries I sustained are nothing compared to the pain that the Gold Star family's gone through. I've seen it firsthand. I haven't experienced it, thank God. And my heart goes out to all of them, the dozens that I know and the 13 that were just created, and everyone that has lost a hero overseas. But what bothered me so much is, you know, there's all these excuses that come up from Joe Biden checking his watch. Maybe he was looking at a rosary that was his son. Maybe this, maybe that. You shouldn't have to maybe. If you're the family of someone who died just days ago in an operation that much of the country thinks wasn't on the up and up, the intel wasn't correct, or the president made bad decisions, maybe as the president of the United States, you need to just be there and be in that moment and be there for them. And if it means that you're the verbal punching bag today, that's okay. I mean, heck, man, you just went through something that's nobody should go through, and you're going to say things and have emotions that may be different a week from now, and we all understand that. So I don't want to use the words of Gold Star families as some political punching bag, but I just wish Joe Biden had the wherewithal, as the President of the United States, to be there, be in the moment, and show them that respect. And if they say he didn't, I'll take their word for it and just say that we all deserve better.
Let me ask you, Sam Brown, you graduated from West Point. You got a great distinction. You became an airborne ranger. September 08, you were struck by an IED. It severely wounded you. A 3-year journey of rehabilitation and recovery. Your thoughts today? Do you have any regrets about serving the way this now has ended?
You know, Sean, I've got a message for the American people, and this is not just me. This is after talking to many other veterans who served there. Some of my own family members. I'm the one of 3 in my direct family who have served in Afghanistan. And there's 2 themes that's coming out from this. One is, most of us don't regret what we did there, because at the end of the day, we are confident in the help and the assistance and the security that we provided for the Afghans that we had care over at that time. And for whatever period of time that they had some shelter and security from the Taliban or other threats, that was worth something. And we feel good about that. But what we don't appreciate, and what Joe Biden has almost single-handedly, along with the top brass leadership out of DOD, has caused many of us to feel that we have been lied to over the years about our commitment to the Afghan people and to the mission there. And here's the really sad thing, and here's what America needs to know, is, and Sean, I know you know this, many of those who serve in uniform come from multi-generational families. Here's the second thing that people are telling me today. We're done. Joe Biden has lost the trust and faith of those families, many families who have served for generations, that we would raise our right hand and be available at the direction of the Commander-in-Chief and do what our country asked us to do. And people are saying, we're done. My children, my grandchildren will not be a tool of elected and unelected officials, their priorities, their foreign policy objectives. We will not be tools for that. And that's a sad, sad indictment of where we're at in America when you have folks that are saying that. And so what I'm telling folks is that we need to make sure that we push back against these elected officials, and that we demand accountability from our top brass out of DOD. People can hear my full statement on Joe Biden asking for his resignation at my website, CaptainSamBrown.com, and join me on this mission of bringing back some honor and integrity to our armed services.
Jennie Taylor, you're a Gold Star wife. You have 7 children. Your husband was killed November 3rd, 2018 in Afghanistan. He served with the Utah National Guard. You said, for those that say, was it worth it? You said, I don't think that for a second that it was a waste. But you also said that you've talked to many other Gold Star families, and it feels like every one of us is reliving this. 7 children will never see their dad. I can't imagine.
You know, Sean, I was listening to everything you're saying so far, and we're talking about 90% of the people getting evacuated, or we should go for 100%. Well, I've got one statistic for you. 100% of Gold Star kids don't get raised by that parent that's missing. 100% of Gold Star moms will never get to hug their son or daughter again. 100% of Gold Star spouses like me will spend the rest of our lives without our sweetheart. I will tell you what I will not wonder. I will never wonder if my husband died in vain, or why he served, or if it was worth it. I will never let myself get to the point where I think that was a waste or never should have happened. Do I like the way things have happened lately? Of course not. None of us approve of the current situation. But I will never question why my husband served, why the other 2,500 have died in this war, and the thousands that have died for the other wars, the other causes throughout America's history. We die because of what we believe in. We believe in these principles. We believe in hope. We believe in spreading humanity and opportunity around the world. My husband didn't just die to protect me and our 7 little babies. He died because he believed the Afghan people also deserved a chance. They deserved hope and opportunity, education and freedom. And I'll tell you something that I hope the American people realize. I hope this really sinks in. Men like my husband and the 13 who were killed last week and the thousands that have died in this 20-year war on terrorism, they died trying to make a difference. They died trying to make it better. They died trying to make it work. And the question I have for all of us now is, are we willing to live with that same dedication? Are we willing to live in a way that makes it worth it to them to honor the lives that they have given? Because again, 100% of Gold Star families have lost at least 90% of that chance. They've lost all of that opportunity to be with that loved one again for the rest of their mortal lives. That's a really heavy statistic.
Jennie, Sam, and Joey, there aren't enough words. You guys have been through so much. Very hard for people to relate to. But I can tell you this. I know I speak for myself, and I know I speak for this audience. I want to thank each and every one of you for all of your service and sad sacrifice and pain that you've all been through. I just want to say thank you. You are the people that make America great. You're the great Americans that we love and admire. We never leave Americans behind. Thank you for sharing your stories with the audience. God bless you all. We're in our prayers, all of you. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.